Good morning. Please welcome the president of the University of Southern California, Carol L. Folt.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Now, to start off our morning, I'd like you to think about this wonderful phrase: everything, everywhere, all at once. Yes, of course, that's the name of this year's Oscar-winning Best Picture. And USC SCA alum Ke Huy Quan won an Oscar for his brilliant performance in the film. And this might not be the only movie title you hear nested in like Easter eggs in my remarks. But not only was the film mind-bending, it really captures in that title our imagination, and I think it captures the tenor of our times. 2023, contemporary life at warp speed, fast and furious, new technologies, pioneering discoveries are taking place in every area. We're really living in the proverbial winds of change every day. Shifting demographics, the need for new foundational skills, the changing nature of work, the STEM revolution. These issues and more are really sweeping us into a swirl of confusing signals, and it's a lot to take in. That swirl is also magnified at universities because the nation's campuses, as you all know, are on the front line for big, tough societal and political issues. Now, we're very fortunate at USC because we won't be forced or choose to go backwards in any of those areas. We'll continue to honor and support and learn from the experiences of our diverse and global communities, and we'll support the multitude of voices and perspectives that make universities such compelling forces for change. So let's just return to thinking about everything, everywhere, all at once. One of our countless privileges is that we are actually tasked to help our students and society transform that sort of frenzy into work that improves humanity and helps build lives of purpose. And I see that happening every day at USC. Our 49,000 students and almost 30,000 staff and faculty across 22 outstanding schools are engaged in every imaginable endeavor. Add to that 450,000 plus Trojan network, and USC's reach and impact are staggering. Our creative output is enormous. Our research is turning chaos into cleverness, and all of you are turning panic into purpose. Our academic programs are providing opportunities for complementary and competing ideas to both collide and coexist and to transform the future. Our work really matters more than it ever has, and I'm so honored to be your president. What I'd like to do today is to take you out of the parts of the university that you know best and spur you to ponder what it means to be part of the greater USC. You know, it's a bit like the story of several people trying to describe an elephant while blindfolded. I want to give you a view of that elephant from my privileged vantage point as president of the entire university. When you leave today, I hope you'll have a fuller appreciation for the immense variety and the capacity of USC, and probably most importantly, I hope that you'll take away an appreciation for the people from every walk of life who are here truly doing with purpose everything, everywhere, all at once. So let's get started by talking about our students. They're such a vibrant group. Close to 49,000 of them are learning, growing, flourishing, and moving forward every day to build lives of purpose. And we're adding resources to support them every year. Our faculty and our staff are energetic, too. They're conquering health issues with new therapeutics, finding ways to eliminate healthcare disparities and saving lives. They're designing world-class buildings, launching new businesses, creating innovative digital media while delighting global audiences on the stage and screen, conducting groundbreaking research. People are out there probing political and social issues and developing and implementing policies at every level. Also, we're filled with educational innovators, people that run free legal clinics and help the most needy with street medicine. And you're all mentoring neighborhood students, working on sustainable initiatives, and making our neighborhoods greener and healthier. Your work is noticed and appreciated. Just consider the more than 500 mentions in the New York Times this year alone. Moreover, Trojans are taking their ideas and discoveries to market. They're taking their research from bench to bedside and increasingly to the phone. Just last week, I visited an incredible carbon capture project that's taking place just around the corner of my office. They're literally pulling CO2 out of the water on ships and sequestering it into inert compounds and helping to slow climate change. Now, if you're like me, USC becomes so exciting. The size and the weight of that elephant becomes much clearer when you go out and you explore from outside your own school, your department, your office, or your activity. And I urge you, in the same way I urge our students, to take advantage of the grand opportunities taking place here. We all get to rub shoulders with leading thinkers of the generation. We have the chance to seek out the great diversity of thought and culture that is thriving on our campus and in LA. We can generate new ideas, and you're going to hear about these, and new fields when we work with people outside our own sphere. And we can connect with our neighbors and our incredible Trojan alumni network. It is such a rare privilege to be part of such a community. And as such, we have to do not only our best to enjoy it, but we also should be aware that we need to improve it for everybody yet to come. Now, 2023 has been a real year, I would say, of purpose and pushing. We faced down challenges over the last few years that only come once in a lifetime, I hope. And from my view, our commitment to each other and to the university has grown even stronger in that time. USC is truly on the move. The state of the university is strong, and people are thriving in so many ways. I believe our strength begins with our ambitious and our diverse students. They say that they're drawn here because of our sunshine, of course, but what they really talk about is a culture of optimism, big dreams, inclusion, and newly we're hearing multidisciplinary fusion. They want to work across disciplines. Just last week, we offered undergraduate admission to students from the largest and strongest ever cohort of applicants. They're curious, they're motivated. I'm talking to you who know them. They come from every background imaginable. And they're filled with self-starters, which is always a great sign. A highlight of this year was the development of USC's first ever student commitment. It is a wonderful document. It stands as a blueprint, not a binding pledge, for living USC's unifying values. It will be available on the web, and I urge you to read it. Students served on the advisory team, which was guided by feedback from thousands of Trojans and the Culture Journey teams. This is meant to catalyze discussion about university culture and responsibility. It specifies expectations regarding integrity, respect, and being responsible neighbors. Now, many of you may not know that Student Affairs, with help from the Provost Office and the faculty, completely revamped our student judicial system, SJAX, this year. And I might expect some clapping on that. It's a big deal. They created a new, much friendlier, usable student handbook and 2 new accountability offices. But the new model is different. It puts student development at the center of our processes. This was a bold step for a university to sunset old processes and create new ones, especially ones that are solidly anchored in university values. And I'd love to report this, that we're already receiving very positive feedback from the new program from students and faculty who have been using it. Now, momentum in a place on the go always builds when you recruit and retain the inspiring academic leaders, faculty, and staff that we do. So I'd like to take a minute to introduce a few of our new leaders. I know many of you have already met Julia Ritter, the new Kaufman Dean. We're about to welcome Jason King to be the new Dean of the Thornton School. And Josh Kuhn will now be our first Vice Provost for the Arts. I think he's here. Josh is an Annenberg Professor and MacArthur Fellow, but he's the perfect inaugural leader for this position, and he's already working on extending that collaboration among our arts deans, our USC museums, and the rest of our campuses. We also welcomed some more people. We welcomed Ike Majay to be the CEO of Arcadia Hospital, Scott Rabinald, the new SVP for University Advancement. Ishwar Puri moved into a newly created role of SVP for Research and Innovation, and we just welcomed law enforcement veteran Loretta Hill, who joined USC as the new chief of DPS. So I hope you'll get a chance to meet all of them. Our faculty also continue to garner incredible national and international awards. For example, 11 professors this year were inducted into prestigious national academies. And this is a strong testament to their excellent scholarship, and it comes from recognition by their peers. 351 new full-time faculty and 519 part-time new faculty joined USC this year. What an incredible infusion of talent. And we're adding 50 million more to the diversity pool managed by the provost because we used it 2 years more quickly than we had anticipated. Advising is also high on everyone's docket, and we're soon going to be launching a new program called Advise USC. This will be one of the largest student and faculty-focused technology initiatives ever, and we're really excited. We think that's going to make a big difference for people. Now, on the research front, USC's grants continue to grow, with funded grants in 2022 rising 8% above 2021 and surpassing that wonderful $1 billion mark. But what's impressive to me is that more than 3,500 proposals valued at $3.5 billion were submitted this year. And this is the truly amazing number: 40% were funded. And you know what that means. The normal funding rate's less than 10%. That exceptional figure places our researchers among the very top in the nation. Now, while groundbreaking STEM research often requires groundbreaking funding, certainly not all fields have access to external funding. Now, we're doing a lot to try to seed projects across the university. For instance, under Ishwar Puri, our Office of Research and Innovation provided more than $2 million in seed funding during the first 2 months of 2023. And this funding has helped support everything from a much-needed 500 megahertz NMR spectrometer to major programs in the humanities and humanistic social science. And of course, across the board, it's really the quality of research and clinical practice and creative arts and so on that drives impact. It's really the outputs, the grants, yes, but it's discoveries, it's books, it's media, artistic creations, it's national leadership, community service, the new businesses created, the technologies, that together, of course, with the success of our graduates, that drives our reputation for excellence and really extends our impact. Now, there are, of course, way too many examples to cover of all this work, but I want to share one meaningful one that you may not know about. Viterbi was awarded an NSF grant this year to make coding accessible for persons living with physical disabilities. Our researchers developed a personalized prototype interfaces, which are enhanced by AI to help them learn and practice programming skills. The goal is quite important. It's to break down barriers for more than 1 billion people. That's 15% of the world's population who live with disabilities. That's a big goal. And these Viterbi researchers are acting as avengers for the social good. They're helping 80% of the people with disabilities who were excluded from the 2021 workforce become a valued part of our economy. So I'm grateful to them. USC's financial position is also strong. Yet, of course, in the current environment, you're all reading the newspapers, we'll need to continue very careful management. Now, I think our finance teams have been doing an excellent job managing budgets, with the result that, of course, this year, we managed our budget. We also made strategic investments in compensation, in student aid, and in capital projects. And we did that while paying off USC's nearly $2.5 billion in legacy, legal, and COVID expenses. That deserves a round of applause. That's been hanging over our heads since I got here, and I'm so proud of what people have done to do that while still keeping their eye on the future. They're diligently managing the risks right now associated with potential downturns in the markets and inflationary pressures. So, of course, efficiency and purpose will be especially important in the next year, and the deans and all the teams are already working on that as well. On the advancement front, our donors and our rating agencies, which is good news, are expressing optimism about USC's future. Last year, we raised $770 million in pledges and gifts, one of the top years in our history, and we're in the process of launching new campus-wide as well as school-specific fundraising initiatives. So I think Scott's getting ready to run out the door and get going again. Of course, we can't fund everything everywhere all at once, but we did invest nearly $500 million in capital projects this year, and we have many more ahead. We also invested in some new strategic programs, including the recent $10 million Center for Generative AI, and that money is going to be used to seed research, convene experts, and expand our national leadership in arts, media, and education, especially in this rapidly changing area. Another strength of USC are the extraordinary number of strong and very long-lasting partnerships and collaborations with our local communities, with our K-12 schools, public health systems, and local businesses. My phone always talks to me when I'm here. For example, this Thursday, we're opening our 8th Head Start Center. USC's early childhood centers, you may not know, serve almost 600 low-income neighborhood children in neighborhoods that are adjacent to UPC and HSC. And our street medicine teams, who provide health care to unhoused Angelenos, have become a national model for what really needs to be done. The final reason that I say USC is on the move stems from the momentum that I'm seeing directly in the schools. In fact, USC is at the top of leading research universities for the number of highly ranked schools. And so I'm going to take a moment to share 5 examples, it's out of the hundreds there, of the kind of momentum we're seeing. So first, USC Research's Teacher in Residence program is in partnership with LAUSD, increasing the number of underrepresented teachers of color in our public schools. Second example, SCA has launched a location-based entertainment major. And it explores how audiences of the future will be seeking and receiving entertainment experiences beyond the traditional movie theater, but even into theme parks, restaurants, stadiums, airports, and so much more. What a great place to have that work done. Third, USC School of Architecture's A-Lab is providing critical exposure about architecture to underserved high school kids in LA who have never even thought about a career in that area. Fourth, USC's Annenberg Center for Climate Journalism and Communication is actively involved in training professionals across all sectors in the consequences of climate change. And they trained 25 journalists across 8 different markets in the country over the past year alone. The fifth example comes from the Leonard Davis School of Gerontology, who just launched a first-of-the-kind program called the Doctorate of Longevity Arts and Sciences. Now, I love this one because it's focusing on healthy aging over the entire lifespan, which, by the way, is at the leading edge of studies about aging, and there is so much buzz going on about that program. Now, I'm going to switch gears and talk more about the future. In my just over 3.5 years here, I have been so impressed by the commitment that I see to excellence in everything, but also by the extent to which our community has embraced change. And I love the fact that our mission has guiding principles for remaining relevant in a fast-changing world. That was there from the start, and that's so important. I urge you to read that mission statement. I think it's wonderful. For me, like I'm sure for all of you, to truly live the mission starts with embracing the principles of the mission. And it has been especially rewarding to see our community place these principles front and center in work that they do. So you see these principles explicitly living in the new student pledge, in the way we're going to do our SJAC rules. You see it in our commitment to workplace flexibility, for our extensive work on Title IX, and you see it in our expansion of mental health services, wellness programs, and so much more. As ever, of course, realizing the mission depends on having a powerful contemporary vision, a blueprint for action. And we've been working on that every year. The blueprint is designed to increase our stature and impact, and I believe it can make USC the international standard bearer for innovator in collaborative learning and discovery. I think it can make us the top choice for students, faculty, staff who are seeking purpose-driven work and purpose-driven lives. Now, to achieve this kind of vision, we have to build, of course, on USC's distinguishing traits and our capacities already here. And to begin, we start with USC being what I call the leading school of schools in America. At our size, everything we do affects many people, high impact even in the numbers. With our breadth and our excellence, we can rewrite the roadmap for higher education in so many ways. We can transform professions. I believe that we can make belonging and mattering in our community real, and we can partner with our communities and neighbors to improve health, fairness, and prosperity in ways that other cities could then emulate. Now, we've been making significant progress with this vision within each academic unit and school, and of course with our moonshots. The moonshots, you'll remember, are meant to be bold strategies for cross-institutional missions impossible, if you will. They're designed to increase our national leadership for years to come. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to briefly update you on them, starting with the moonshot referred to as USC Competes. This initiative is designed to allow us to continue to attract and retain the best and brightest in one of America's most expensive cities. This includes financial aid. Some of you may know that USC enrolls more, may not know this, more than 4,700 4,700 Pell-eligible undergraduates. That's more than most private research universities in America. We also have one of the largest financial aid pools in the nation. $635 million in scholarships and grants were awarded to our undergraduates from all sources last year, including central and school-based scholarships. And in 23-24, the pool is expected to grow by another 7%. Now, our successful affordability initiative is entering its 4th year. And you'll remember that that eliminates tuition for families making less than $80,000 a year. Top of our agenda right now is to focus on transfer student aid and grow graduate program support and tuition. And we're seeking to raise more than $1 billion in financial aid by the end of the decade. So this is a job that we all need to be involved in. USC Competes also focuses on our dedicated faculty and staff. Last year, we began implementing a 5-year, $700 million investment to increase compensation, make sure our benefits are strong, and make market adjustments at every level. In year 1, we exceeded our target of $150 million, and that included substantial raises for graduate students, postdocs, RTPC faculty, as well as for staff, tenure, and tenure-track faculty. And we are not going to stop moving on that initiative. We're also working hard to improve work-life balance. We're still subsidizing mass transit commutes, trying to increase our child care and even pet care resources. There's a new program just put in place for that. We're also enabling more work-from-home flexibility. We're going to continue to evaluate with people to see how that's going. And we have, for several years, added an additional week of holiday vacation at year's end. And thank you. I really appreciate how important that was for everybody. Me too, I've got to say. But I want to give a special shout out to our university-wide HR teams for something that you might not even have any idea of, but they ensured USC's compliance with a new law, California's new Pay Transparency Act. But what you might not know is that was legislated, then required to be in place, and we have a lot of people to put on there in record time, less than a couple of months, and they did it all. So that's just an example of what happens behind the scenes, people really making things work well. Now, yes, thank you, that's great. The second moonshot I've been talking about for quite a while is what I'm calling USC 3.0, the transformation of our health science programs. And I've reported previously on our governance changes, and that includes setting up a whole new board of trustees, healthcare board, and aligning all of our health-related schools under Dr. Steve Shapiro, who is USC's inaugural Senior Vice President for Health Affairs. And they're doing a fantastic job. That new governance structure is really speeding up programmatic initiatives, and it's helping to propel a $3 billion campaign for health forward. We're also, in that campaign, planning for faculty growth, additional research support. It has a big focus on student aid for all the students in the health sciences. It also will fund the construction of a new discovery translational hub on our health science campus, and that should begin pretty soon. Now, in November, we took a highly unusual step that I want to explain to you, because we reimagined the use of a marvelous gift sitting in our endowment from physicist, inventor, and former USC trustee Alfred E. Mann. That gift had grown to more than $230 million in 2 decades. Together with incredible support from the Alfred Mann Foundation directors, we decided and were able to redirect these funds to enable growth in academic and research activities at the area he had given the gift for, which was the intersection for health sciences, engineering, and the other basic sciences at USC. So by doing that, we were able to designate more than $100 million for early investment into research and to adding a number of new endowed chair biomedical engineering subject clusters in a number of schools. We also were able to endow both our newly named Alfred E. Mann School of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences and the Mann Department of Biomedical Engineering at the Viterbi School. So that's a big push forward for us. Our moonshot to reimagine athletics is also progressing really well. Most important, we're committed to ensuring our student athletes, I believe deeply in that as their nature. We're committed to determining that they can compete at the highest level athletically while also achieving at the highest level academically. Now, our move to the Big Ten Conference next year places us clearly on the national stage, but it also positions our programs and our athletes for long-term success and sustainability. But maybe the most important is that it gives USC a very strong voice in the national dialogue on sports that is taking place right now. This year, we also had the honor of naming our main track field after Allison Felix. And the big launch of the opening is coming up soon, so I hope you'll be able to come to it. Allison, as you all know, is the most decorated U.S. track and field athlete in Olympics history and a very proud Rasir alum. But most importantly, Allison exemplifies winning in the right way, but she exemplifies honor and using her voice to really drive important change. It's my hope that when students and alumni, visitors to the campus, walk by this beautiful field, that they will read about Allison and be inspired to learn more about her story. Last year, we of course began what looks to be a pretty stunning turnaround of our football team when we hired Lincoln Riley. But as an FYI, we're talking about football today. I want you to know we have hired a number of transformational coaches for our other impressive teams. So if you're like me, you go to a lot of those games, and they're very exciting. You also know that Caleb Williams came. He was amazing. He won the Heisman Trophy. He probably gave one of the most incredible speeches, if anyone watches Heisman Trophy, that they have ever seen. And in particular, he too is known widely as a very caring person. He's a Trojan who stands up for national causes. So I think there's a lot to be proud of there. In the next few weeks, we're going to publicly launch what I call our fourth big moonshot, which is a 10-year, multi-billion-dollar plus, not multi-billion, million-dollar plus initiative to accelerate advanced computing at USC. So I'm not going to talk about that until the announcement comes out in a couple weeks. But I just want to say that, of course, this isn't the first time that USC is at the forefront of exponential leaps in technology. In fact, Viterbi's Information Science Institute, ISI, celebrating its 50th year, helped truly to develop the internet, including creating the domain name system and the TCP/IP protocols that are still the digital backbone of the web today. Finally, we're developing additional moonshots in areas such as sustainability. There is so much going on in this area, I'm just going to give a little look at it. But, for example, this year we launched Assignment Earth, and our presidential working group worked so hard to develop this framework for a more sustainable university and planet. And we're already achieving some really significant milestones, more to come, reducing carbon emissions, even as our footprint and the number of people on our campus has grown, our carbon emissions are significantly down. We eliminated plastic bottles, and we did it a lot faster than I ever thought we could. Congratulations to all of you. We're currently diverting almost half of our waste from landfills. That's going to go up, but that is important. And we're significantly reducing our water use. We're also, and this is something you may not know, purchasing renewable energy, electricity now from the LA Department of Water and Power. And that power is 45% less carbon intensive. This is a big reason why we can reach carbon neutrality. But it's also an incredible win-win because our agreement also ensured that our neighbors also can purchase lower cost renewable energy. And that is a beautiful partnership. Finally, in this area, we're about to finalize our first cohort of 5 new presidential sustainability postdocs. And they're going to be in a number of different schools. And we're about to move into our new sustainability hub right in the center of UPC. So things are very exciting there. Now, I hope doing this broad overview, I've helped you understand what I see as the true spirit of USC and appreciate this beautiful animal, this beautiful elephant in its fullest form. But no matter what your vantage point is, I also hope that you can see that this is a time of great promise as well as challenge for USC. Going forward, I feel very confident that we will continue in this great Trojan tradition. We're going to continue to manage through challenges. I have no doubt that we'll seize opportunities and get even stronger. But there's a lot still to do. We need to continue to build critical infrastructure. We have to stay attentive to managing our finances prudently, and we have to make investments every year in the success of our students and our faculty and our staff. But I believe we also need to keep strengthening our culture and raising the bar on the way we use our ethics and values to make determinations about the university. And we need to continue to improve the ways we live and we work together as a community. And if we do all that, I think that's how USC truly can become an exemplar for what I call excellence at scale. So what does it take to be excellent at scale? It's not so hard to be big, but how are you excellent at scale? Well, it's something about size, it's about the quality of what you do, it's about the speed of what you do, and it's about the way you take advantage of the fullness, the university as a whole. So let's go through that kind of quickly. Clearly, USC is big. Each year, we graduate more than 5,000 diverse undergraduates, 11,000 graduate and professional students. In fact, 27% of our population are international. That means we're graduating 13,000 international students every year. We're also the largest private employer in the city of Los Angeles, so we have big impact. We're also excellent. Our schools are leaders in their field. Everyone's aspiring for even more. Many of our graduates, our students, our faculty, our alumni are out there doing world-changing accomplishments. But what I love the most is that call to excellence extends to our teams, to our hospitals, professors, doctors, nurses, IT specialists, staff. It extends across that campus. USC can also do fast. We have a history of boldness and inclusivity. The place is known for taking big swings, and when they do them, doing them decisively. And that boldness often drives the day, so we have to really protect that ability to work fast. Yet, I'd say as strong as we are individually, USC's biggest boost, in my mind, comes from the strength and power generated by the bridges that we form to connect us across size and scale. Connection is, to my mind, the most important element that you need to achieve not just scale, but excellence at scale. It's a connective tissue that will link all of our 22 schools, our campuses, our people. It's powering interdisciplinary collaboration. And that comes directly from all of your determination to stretch, and I believe it sets USC apart. We have to continue to foster this with every tool that we have. Now, I could rattle off a lot of other examples of the powerful connections that you're already making, and I'm sure that each of you could come up with a dozen more. Let me do a few. There's the new combined degree that was just launched by Price and Marshall that brings together Price's strength in real estate development and urban planning and Marshall's prowess in finance and investment. It's a big win, and no one thought those two schools were going to work together on that, and they are doing a fabulous job. You know, and what about the program that was just created by Keck and Kaufman called Dance and Mobility? Perfect place for it here. It teaches students to facilitate dance classes for people living with disabilities. In the AI space, there's a lot going on. Viterbi School and Marshall just created a joint undergraduate degree called AI for Business. Clearly a winner. The Gould School of Law just launched an interdisciplinary BS in legal studies to study how law affects society at all socioeconomic levels. And it's the only one of the only such degrees nationwide. Finally, my last one comes from the Leventhal School of Accounting and Marshall, who are forming a new joint undergraduate degree in accounting and finance. Probably not sounding that exciting yet, but listen. The accountants at Leventhal also partnered with the IRS to provide 1,500 hours of volunteer tax service to assist low-income residents right in our communities surrounding UPC and HSC. They secured more than $600,000 in refunds for our neighbors. So I'm so fortunate as the president, I get to see this creative interplay between our schools all the time.